This video is for the distributive property. So when we distribute, we're talking about we've got a number outside a set of parentheses. And what we do is we take that number and we multiply it by everything that is inside the parentheses. And we draw these arrows to kind of help us remind what we need to multiply by. So here we'd have A times B, which would give us AB. And then we just bring the plus sign down. And then we do A times C, which would give us AC. And so this would be using the distributive property, and this would be breaking down or simplifying this expression. So it works with with subtraction as well. So here we'd have A times B, which would give us AB, and then A times C, which would give us AC. So we can just bring the subtraction down. Or the other thing that you can do is anytime you see the subtraction, you can always add a line and then change the sign. And so here you'd be multiplying A times a negative C. So the other way that this could be written could be AB plus a negative AC. But again, if we simplify, plus a negative is the same thing. It's just our basic subtraction. And then it doesn't matter the direction. So if your number's to the right of your parentheses, you still multiply it across everything that's in your parentheses. So here you'd have X times Y, which would give you XY, and then X times Z, which would give you XZ. So inside, we've got some of these that we can do. And so remember to draw your arrows in. And so here we'd have a negative 5 times 5x. So negative times 5 times 5 would give me a negative 25x. And then plus 7 here. So negative 5 times a positive 7 would give me a negative 35. So I could do plus negative 35, but if you want it in simplest forms, it would just be minus 35. So negative 25x minus 35. So same thing here, we've just got 3 terms. And so we're going to multiply it out. So 4 times 2x would give me an 8x. 4 times 3y, so 4 times 3 would give me a 12. So plus 12, and then you just tack your variable onto the end. And then 4 times 10 would give me a positive 40. So again, same thing. So 4 times 2x would give me 8x. 4 times 6 would give me a positive 24. And then we've got a negative again on the outside here. So we keep that in mind. So negative 3 times x gives me a negative 3x. Negative 3 times y gives me a negative 3y, or just minus 3y. And then negative 3 times 5 gives me a negative 15. So in word problems, here's what it's going to look like. A family of 3 each buy 2 oranges, x, and 5 apples, y. So if you want to find the total, to write this out, you've got 3 people and each of them, so each is a multiplication word. That means I'm going to multiply it by something. So each of those people is going to buy 2 oranges, and we don't know how many or how much maybe those oranges cost. So we do 2x, and then plus 5 apples. And again, maybe we're looking for the cost and the x and the y, or how much each of these things cost. So if we multiply it out or distribute, we've got 6x plus 15y. So in total, they're going to buy 6 oranges and 15 apples. And if we're looking for the cost of each of these things would be x and y. So here we've got subtraction inside the parentheses now. We just follow the same process. So 6 times 5x is 30x. 6 times a 7 would give me a 42. But again, we've got this subtraction, so we can either add a line and change the sign and then change it back, or you can do it all at the same time. So now we've got negatives outside and inside. So negative 2 times a positive 2x gives me a negative 4x. Negative 2, and I'm just going to group all this together, times a negative 3y. So negative 2 times negative 3 is going to give me a positive 6, so a positive 6y. And then the same thing here, I'm going to group all of this together. So -2 times -10 is a +20. All right, another one here. So 4 times 2x is 8x. And then 4 times, again, if we group it all together, 4 times -6 is a -24. If you need to break it down, if you need to add the line and change the sign and then simplify one more time, do that if it helps you keep everything straight. And then a long one here, 3 terms. So -3 times x is a -3x. -3 times a -y gives me a +3y. And then -3 times a -15 gives me a +15. And so with terms like this -y is the same as -1 times y. So that negative sign is there, and they don't put that 1 in again because that's simplifying it, but there's always that 1 in there. The same with just a regular x. This is the same as 1x, and you're going to need to know that throughout algebra and math. So here's a word problem. At a lemonade stand, 5 cups are sold at $1.25 each, but each cup cost 50 cents to make. So if we're selling cups, if we're making money, that's a positive. If we're losing money or spending money, that's a negative. So if I sell 5 cups at $1.25 each, I'm making money. But for each of those cups, I've got to spend 50 cents. And so this is still the distributive property. It just looks a little bit different. And so here we can just multiply. 5 times $1.25 is going to give me $6.25. And then 5 times a -50 cents, try that again, gives me a -$2.50. And so I can add both these up. And so I could find my net profit here of $3.75. All right, so now we're going backwards. So 3 times 5x is 15x. 3 times, again, if we group all this together, a -7, we'd get a -21. So 7 times 2x is going to give me a 14x. 7 times 3y is going to give me 21y. And then 10, or -10, so again, I'm grouping this all together. -10 times a 7 is a -70. So same thing again, 4 times 2x is 8x. 4 times 6 is a +24. And then our last one here. So 3 times x is 3x. 3 times -y is -3y. And then 3 times a -5 is -15. So at a party, each person takes 2 slices of pizza, P, and 3 pieces of candy, C. There are 10 people. So each person, so I've got 10 people here, each of them, so that lets me know I'm going to multiply, is going to take 2 slices of pizza and is a plus word, 3 pieces of candy. So in total, 10 times 2p is 20p. 10 times 3c is 30c. So again, we could use this to find the cost, or just to know I'm going to need at least 20 pieces of pizza and 30 pieces of candy. So that's it for this video.